Ben McKee and Patrick Brown of Vols 24/7 here in Athens at Sanford Stadium, where Tennessee loses to Georgia 31-17. And not that the offense played well, but to me, the story of the night was the lack of defense from Tennessee and how it was pushed around in the trenches. The Tennessee defensive line that we've seen dominate this season, it got dominated tonight.
Yeah, I don't know that Georgia ran the ball for a whole lot, but Tennessee let Carson Beck do what he did to them last season, where they never got any pressure on him at all. He carved them up last season. Tonight, he looked like the guy that so many NFL people were high on, not the guy who's been turning the ball over left and right the past few weeks. He throws the ball 40 times, throws for 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. No sacks for Tennessee, no turnovers.
Only 2 tackles for a loss.
They gave up 6 plays of 20-plus yards. I think they'd only given up 16, maybe the whole 20. Not a lot. They've been very good at defending the big play and not allowing that, but Georgia just big played them to death. And you mentioned the offense. Tennessee had no big plays on offense. The longest pass was 17 yards. The longest play was the 27-yard run by Dylan Sampson. But, yeah, I mean, this was Tennessee's – defensively, this is their worst game of the season, I don't think, and by a long stretch.
Yeah, and a lot of attention on the defensive front, rightfully so. But I thought all 3 levels of the defense played poorly. There was no push, no pressure. The linebackers were consistently lost in coverage, and I thought the secondary was lost in coverage as well.
Yeah, Georgia's tight ends were big in this game, and that usually falls on the linebackers and the safeties too. Tennessee really struggled to defend the middle of the field. And there were also plays that were, 50-50 plays on the outside that Georgia made and Tennessee didn't. And there were a few of those that were big in this game as well. So schematically, it wasn't good enough. And then on the field, guys making plays, also not good enough for this defense. And they started well. They got 3 stops right out the gate. And then I think there was only one more drive that Georgia didn't score. And then they go on like a 7-minute drive, 92 yards to finish the game there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, offensively, kind of a same tale of the tape. Got pushed around in the trenches once again. They were able to generate some runs, traditional runs with Peyton Lewis and Dylan Sampson, but just not enough consistent protection for Nico. I thought Nico actually played pretty well. I just don't know that he got a ton of help around him.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, again, when your longest pass play 17 yards, that's a glaring lack, I think, of explosiveness, and that's been the case for Tennessee against Georgia in all of these matchups. They've not been able to make the big plays that they make against everybody else. I don't know if it's talent. I don't know if it's something that Georgia does schematically. But they just don't make big plays against this team unless it's Jalen Wright running for 75 yards. There's that, but through the air, they've struggled to win on the outside in this game. They had a couple of drops too. I think were big. Dante Thornton had a drop on the sideline that would have been a big play. Miles Kitselman on the first drive of the third quarter, tough catch, but you got to make those at this level. And Kitselman obviously was very involved early in the game when they started really well. But yeah, Georgia seemed to. When they were on their heels early, they seemed to blitz a little bit more, and that got Tennessee out of sorts. And then when Tennessee did a better job picking up the blitz, nobody's getting open, and Nico's having to hold the ball. So if it wasn't one thing, it was the other, and that's what happens when you don't score points in the second half.
Yeah, and we'll bring up the officiating. I know that's a hot topic amongst Tennessee fans. Josh Heupel was not happy at all with the officiating. We've already got the transcript up on the site at Vols 24/7. We'll have more reaction there. Heupel had plenty to say without saying a whole lot. Tennessee got its butt whooped, and it got its butt whooped regardless of the referees. But there is no doubt that there were some calls that we'll bring it up because Josh Heupel was not happy about it post-game.
Yeah, there was a face mask. It didn't really look like a face mask. Some of the 12th man on the field call. I don't know the exact rules on okay, if he has 1 foot on the field and 1 foot over the sideline, is he out? Obviously, Kirby Smart really, I think, got the referees to look at that. And so there was that. There was a false start late in the game that was not called. That Wes saw more than I did. But yeah, I mean, the first quarter Tennessee was up 10-0, and then from there on, Georgia was a better team, and that was the case in this game.
Yeah, and now your playoff hopes not dead, but you're going to need some help going forward.
Yeah, and you need some help in the SEC championship race too, and there's a big conglomeration of 2 lost teams in this league. I don't know all the tiebreakers. I think one of the main ones is win percentage of your opponents, and Tennessee's win percentage of their opponents is not great because they played Oklahoma, they played Florida, who won today, and they played Kentucky,
and Arkansas,
and Mississippi State, Arkansas, yes. So
and Vanderbilt to the end of the year.
That's not going to help Tennessee's case in a 2-team loss tiebreaker, and we'll just have to see where they're ranked. I mean, Heupel came out and said, we're a good football team. It's hard to win on the road in this league. This is the best football conference in the country. For the first half, it looked like 2 playoff teams, Ben. That's what I thought. I thought Tennessee faded a little bit in the second half, but Heupel did stump for his team a little bit. I think Kirk Herbstreit, even at the end of the game, was saying, hey, this is a 2-loss team that's played a tough schedule. They beat Alabama. He kind of maybe stumped for them a little bit too. So we'll just have to see. Who knows what the committee's thinking? I don't know how BYU's doing right now, but if they beat Kansas, I'm sure it'll be held as a big win. Colorado beat the same Utah team. They'll probably be in the top 5. So who knows what the committee's going to do. But Tennessee, with this loss, sort of takes it out of their own hands. All they can really do is go beat UTEP, Vanderbilt, and see where it gets them.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention. You need help, but you better make sure you beat Vanderbilt as well.
You're sleeping on the Miners?
Yes, I am sleeping on the Miners. And
but it's a day game, though.
It is a day game. Maybe that'll be a weird shock to the system in a positive way. We'll see how Tennessee handles that. We'll certainly have plenty of coverage all week long leading into that game. We'll have coverage throughout the night. Tonight, I guess it's already morning time, but all day Sunday and into Monday. And we've always got coverage of all things Tennessee at GoVols247.com. He's Patrick Brown. I'm Ben McKee.